Still tuning pianos? Because I had you retired, but
I am moving toward retirement. I keep getting calls from people saying, "I hear you're retired," and I say, "I wish I was."
If you got a piano, you got a decent instrument, you want a piano tech that's got half a brain. And Jeff Stickney's got half a brain.
That's the critical factor at this point. A PSO. A piano-shaped object.
Oh, it's a POS.
Yeah.
Because I was getting ready to curse.
If the PSO is a POS, then defer to others.
This is a family show.
Welcome, kids. I'm Gary Gillett, remember? And I've got this little dog and pony show. Hey, I've got a dog and pony. Music in music in Missoula. Dog and pony. I always go left to right. You know, that's the way you march. We've got members of the Ed Norton Big Band here, and we've got a gig coming up. But we are timeless, and I have a stake in this a little bit as well because I'm also a member of the Ed Norton Big Band. So we're going to find out who we are and what we're about, and then what Ed's up to, and then we'll have enough. It's a beautiful day. I want to get the hell out of this dark studio. Hey.
Here we are.
So here we are. This is Jeff Stickney and David Horgan. And we're all members of the Ed Norton Big Band. And what is the Ed Norton Big Band? What is it?
You go first.
All right, I'll go first. Well, the Ed Norton Big Band is
it's a big band.
Collection of musicians and, yeah, I'd say they're all musicians. I was going to say wannabe musicians, but I think we all...
Even the drummer's a pretty, he's a musician.
Yeah, I think we can all say that we're actually musicians. Community members. Some make their living as musicians, and some have other livelihoods.
I think he's the only one in the whole freaking city, you know, in the whole area. We'll find out.
Well, the drummer makes his living currently as
that's right. Maybe so. He's a newbie in the group.
Yeah. That's a good definition.
Where'd the name come from?
Aha.
That's what everyone wants to know.
The secret.
Well, you have to.
Norton.
You have to be of a certain
That's
age.
That's a cue. Norton.
You have to be from a certain generation and a certain age to understand.
Which we are. Even though we're working men, we're still ungainfully employed.
Well, I'll give it to you the short version. A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, there was one of the earliest sitcoms on TV, back when TV was all live in front of a live audience.
Yep, in black and white.
And it was called The Honeymooners. And it was Jackie Gleason's project. He played a bus driver in New York City. And his upstairs neighbor, who worked in the New York City sewers, was a dude named Ed Norton, played by the great actor Art Carney.
Yeah.
I grew up watching this show.
Me too, man.
Sure you did. And
though my mother wasn't pleased I was watching it.
And
sure.
So the band is named after Ed Norton, who was a fictional New York City sewer worker. Why is that?
Why is that?
Why?
That's what I don't know.
I think we can blame it on one of the founders of the band, Mr. Tommy
Wadsland. Okay.
I think we can blame it on him.
Okay.
You could check that.
I thought about it.
He's out in Grand Funk, North Dakota.
God help him. I pray for him every night.
But we can find him. And I believe he told me the story. He was sitting around with, who else founded the band?
Tom Scott. Scott, and he was married. Scotty Ray.
Oh, he was also a trombone player.
Yeah, they were the two trombone players.
They said, let's put together a classic big band. You know, trumpets, trombones, saxophones, rhythm section, and play classic big band music. And it's got to have a name. It's got to sound like it's led by one of those generic big band guy leader names. So Ed Norton, it's just fits.
Even though he never was a big band leader.
Had
That's
nothing-
right. Nor was he real.
But it's a classic name.
But people ask all the time, and
Which
that's
one-
more than I knew about it.
And they say, which one of you guys is Ed? And we all say,
And we
all
do.
17 of us.
Yes.
But we really do have an Ed in the band now. He's rather new to our group, but Ed Stalling is our drummer, and he's the only real Ed in the band.
Is that? I guess he is the only actual person
Yeah, I
named
say
Ed.
it. I say it to gigs.
Ever.
Yeah.
That I know.
Ever? Is the only person named
Yeah.
Ed who's it? All right.
Can you think of anyone else?
No, so
I can't.
and the group, so the band grew out of an MCT production of the 1940s Radio Hour. That's what I heard, and they did that
Oh, way
show
back.
way back, and then they had so much fun doing it. There was not a big band in town, and Tom and Scott went, "Yeah, I want to. Let's continue."
I think
this."
that's right.
And then they started
The-
the band, but
the-
it came out of
The
MCT.
original edition of that show when they did it at
Yeah,
MCT. I
and
think
both
you're
those
right.
guys
Wow.
played in that band on stage. Back when the stage was down by, the
Oh, on
beer-
Front Street.
On
Yeah,
Front
Front
Street.
Street. Yeah,
Next to the trail.
yeah,
Well, I played that show, but when I played the revival of
yeah,
that
yeah.
show.
Because they've done it 2 or 3 times.
That-
right?
Or 4.
You probably did
Or
too.
More.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, I played it in the early 90s.
But by the time we played in that show, the Ed Norton Big
Ed
Band
Norton
already
was
existed
well
as a
underway.
separate
Yeah.
entity.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Stood on our own. Even though we don't play very much, especially during the Corona, we lost our gigs. But we always play New Year's Eve somewhere. And for years and years, we've done first night. Now it's called Music on Main.
What he called it, the Corona?
Missoula
What's
on
the?
Main, I
The
think. Or-
COVID, whatever.
not
For a while,
sure
we
about
called
This
it
isn't
Corona.
a Corona beer commercial.
I know it. I just love it. It's so much more fun to remember the Corona instead of COVID. All right,
Uh-huh.
but at one point,
Yes.
those names were interchangeable, and in my mind, it's not interchangeable. It is the Corona.
Corona.
Oh, okay.
It makes me long for it.
All right.
And
Snoop Dogg, living the life, baby.
That's it. Yeah. Snoop Dogg next to him. Boy, he's got a better gig than I do. Let's see. And we always play out to lunch. Whenever Pat Simmons started, we've
we
never
do.
missed an iteration of that.
I don't think the band's ever missed.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
And so, however long, because Pat Simmons
Amazing.
started it, whenever she started it, we did, and we've not missed it. So we always have 2 gigs a year at least, and we're hoping that maybe once things start clearing out, that people with deep pockets can afford to pay us, and we'd love to play your bar
And
mitzvah.
for a while, we had a monthly gig. For a while, it was at the Missoula Winery, like 5 years or
Yeah.
something. And then we moved to the Dance Collective, and then Corona.
There it is. Corona came and washed it all away. So
That
we're
was
still
it.
looking for a venue because I think it'd be fun to play it once a month.
Yeah.
For a while, we thought it would be good advertisement. No, we just enjoy playing, and it feels so strange now when we haven't had a gig for so long. So we'd love to do it. The problem is all these new hotels, and new hotels don't build as part of their plan a ballroom.
Ball.
One of these new hotels, I went and inquired and I asked about a ballroom. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. And she got the key and we walked down the hall. And the room wasn't much bigger than this.
Uh-huh. You could fit the big band.
Well,
Nobody else, but
I let her know that you can't call that a ballroom. A meeting room, maybe.
a salon.
A salon. We don't.
That's a shame.
So we're gonna play. We're gonna try the Zach.
yeah,
Zook. Everyone just knows it. As
in
that.
a week from now.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's a. We're hoping it's a big enough venue. Last year we played in the world's greatest library. It's not
Well,
just
that-
a great library; it's the world's finest library.
It's a beautiful
I got
library.
schooled on that sucker,
And
man.
guess what it's got on the 4th floor? A ballroom.
There it is, and we played there last year for New Year's Eve,
I mean,
and it was
It's a great big
sufficient.
room that can function as a ballroom as well as
Yeah.
playing
And
at
for
other things.
COVID time, it was big enough for that time an event. You know, it wouldn't be. I don't think it would be this year because so many of us are. We came in without masks on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we did.
There's places I put my mask back on. You know. And I
me
had,
too.
I had to. I finally got
Well,
the crud after.
I just got the crud like 5 weeks ago.
Oh wait, I had it just before Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get the
about the
ivermectin?
time.
No, the Pavlovid or whatever. I took
No,
the drugs.
I
Oh.
didn't do it.
I called the doctor and said, I think I'm going to die.
You had
Well,
it bad.
I
Yeah.
did. The word got in the street that I was dead or something like that.
Well, the word
Yeah,
went around that you just.
I was surprised to see you here today.
You're
So
looking,
am I.
you're looking good for somebody recovering from Corona.
They thought they had heard something in my lungs.
Mm-hmm.
So they went, oh man, get fat old man. That's what kills us is pneumonia, fat old guys. So I had to go. It was like a drug deal behind some screening place out Grant Creek. Because of COVID, I had to wait in my minivan with a mask on,
I
and I
went to the
fell
same
asleep.
place.
I
I
fell
went to the
asleep
same
out
place.
there waiting. And they thought the technician, not a waiter or waitress, the technician, the X-ray technician, knocked on my window. Come on, COVID boy, we're gonna go and take a picture of your. And I was clear.
I walked in there with my COVID test, and they said, "Go back to your car and call."
Well, there we go.
Sorry,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
missed the sign.
Okay, I had a tenor player in my band. I called her after my own doctor didn't ever return calls, and then finally my kid called and said, "Dad, you sound like you're gonna die. Call a doctor." I went, "I did." He said, "Do something else before you die."
Yeah.
And that's when I called my friend, a doctor, really a PA. I went, "Hey," and she got me in right away, and I got the drugs and whooped me up.
I didn't know you had friends, much less.
Let's
friends in
see.
the
Yeah,
doctor.
well, a band member, not really a
Yeah.
friend.
Oh,
Okay.
Acquaintance.
All right, so Jeff, tell us something. No. David, please tell us a little bit about who the heck you are.
Who the heck I am?
There it
The
is.
dog before the pony.
There we go. Dog and pony. No, he's the pony. Remember, dog,
He's-
pony.
oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Well, who the heck
Glad we
am
kept that
I?
Who are you? These guys are so tough to
I'm-
interview.
You know, I'm one of dozens of guitar players around this vicinity, and I've been playing with Ed Norton for God knows how long, 20-something
Did
years.
you come in the 90s?
I must have come in the 90s. That's what I'm
After
thinking.
Jeff Foote left,
Yeah.
you took
Yeah.
the
I
chair.
That's
stepped
right.
in there, and actually I just sat down in my chair,
As guitar players ought to do.
Yeah.
and I
And
joined.
they
I
put
joined.
music in front of you, and you left.
I joined the rhythm section
He
at
could
that
read
time.
music.
My longtime buddy Donald Moss, who lived up the Bitterroot, he was playing bass in the band, and actually Donald introduced me to a lot of jazz, and he taught me a lot, not just in the big band, but we played a lot
Combo
of
stuff.
He got me to do duo gigs and trio gigs and really learn the jazz repertoire and learn to read music.
Was that indeed?
guitar-
Was that a problem for you?
Well, I'd studied a little
Guitar
bit-
players are notoriously non-readers.
Exactly.
That's why they play so well.
Well, I'd studied piano when I was young, and I took some music courses in college. But no, I was not a trained musician. Guitar players play by ear.
Yeah.
And I had to really play catch up. And Donald was my mentor. And by the time I joined the big band, I could look at one of those charts, and I took some of them home to practice.
Oh, that's like you can make sense of it. But
But-
Don helped
Yeah.
you.
Oh, tremendously.
Oh, how sweet.
That's
great.
Probably the best bass player in the whole freaking state while he was with us.
He was really good bass
He'd
player.
been gone for a year now.
Yeah, we lost him a year ago. And you know, then I've had other bands around this vicinity for a long time. We have this band called the Big Sky Mudflaps, and this is
That's older.
2022.
Is that older than Norton, do you think? Or
Yeah, heck, they were
about
playing.
concurrent?
That-
No, yeah.
We
Early
started
80s.
we started that
70s.
band in 1975.
That's
Oh,
when I
down the
came-
root.
That
That's
would
when
be
I came to school in Missoula.
And they were
I
blowing
used to
down
go
in
down
Hamilton.
With a top hat
That would be
and hear them.
47
Man, he's
years
old.
ago. I was a mere child.
You were only 5 when you
I
started.
was a
that
mere
band.
child.
Oh,
And several of us are still operating that
Yeah.
band. And we've had various people come in and out. Chuck Florence, who plays first tenor in the Ed Norton Big Band, an incredible jazz musician, originally from Detroit.
There we go. He's
Yorktown.
got Detroit connection.
Detroit does it.
That's right.
He's the we call him the new guy in the Mud Flaps because he's only been there about 37 years. And I've got a lot of other projects. We have a salsa band. We have a band that does all Brazilian music. We have a Western swing.
Yeah, you
Western
get
swing
well,
band.
Western swing. You don't call it country, you call it Western
Well, we
swing.
do country.
Okay. Hey, have you got that tune done yet?
What's that?
Lulu from Missoula?
Oh yeah, it's a cool tune.
I want it.
Yeah.
That was our deal.
Yeah.
I found a tune.
That's my gig to play the pedal steel guitar.
Yeah.
I've taken up the pedal steel guitar in about the last 8-10 years. So that's the story of me. You know,
And my conjecture is that he's one of the few musicians without a real job. You know, he did marry in to benefits and his lady. All right, that's the only reason he pulled it off and not be homeless. Is my line.
that's an old story, and it's true. Sure, my wife was a professor of art at the university with good health insurance, and she's also a bass player
Yeah, so it doesn't.
and plays with
Plays
me
in
in most
the
of those
majority
groups.
those bands.
Yeah.
So,
So you
if I-
chaperoned.
I booked a lot of gigs, and we both got to get paid for a lot of gigs, especially in the summer months. She could work a lot in the summer months when she
Sure.
wasn't teaching,
Right.
and we made it work out. We made it balance out.
Hey Jeff, tell us about yourself.
Your turn.
Your turn. Ding.
Time's up.
Ding. Right, Tony speaks. Well, I came to music from the other direction, having gone all the way through a master's degree in music. So I was more of a reader than
As
a
an
jazz
organist.
as an organist.
Organist. You got
Yes.
that? Do you know
Although-
anybody else with a master's in organ?
Although I do have a pedigree as a trumpet player in not one but 2 polka bands in Nebraska.
That'll
The
do it.
hotbed of polka, Nebraska.
Yes.
That
Yeah.
really, yeah.
I'm telling you.
That'll do it.
John Candy didn't know it.
Chuck Farmer ran the band, Adolf Nemitz. He was,
They moved down from Minnesota.
they were all family except
Yeah.
for me. Yeah. But I've made my livelihood here in Missoula as a piano technician, occasional organist, and occasional trumpet player, gigging around town whenever I get called.
And now, are you still tuning pianos? Because I had you retired, but
I am moving toward retirement. I keep getting calls from people saying, "I hear you're retired," and I say, "I wish I was. I'm not quite there yet."
I know someone wants your gig.
He's the one everybody, but he's the one everybody wants.
If you got a piano, you got a decent instrument, you want a piano tech that's got half a brain. And Jeff Stickney's got
Now,
half
that's
a brain.
the critical factor at this point. A decent instrument.
A decent instrument and half a brain.
If you have a PSO, a piano-shaped object.
Oh, I got it's a POS.
Yeah.
Because I was getting ready to curse.
If the PSO is a POS, then I would defer to others.
This is a family show.
And every
This is
time
a
I'm on the
family
mic, I'm always trying to give him business because the guy's got great ears, and there's such a need for real acoustic pianos for people to own and be able to play, and Jeff is the one to do it. Like when anyone of any substance comes to town, they need to have their piano tuned. Stickney's always got a handful of money and free tickets.
I do.
Yes. Anyone with like you've tuned for everyone their dog when
man.
they come into town.
He tuned for Herbie Hancock.
Yeah,
Tuned-
jeez.
And everybody else in the world who plays
Yep,
piano.
It's been fun. It's been
Yeah.
And be able to live here in a small town, though. You're from Miles City, right?
I am
I mean,
cow capital of the West.
coming from small town, but being able to have a living here in Missoula and still be on an international stage as people come to you.
Yeah, it's been a nice way to make a living that's still connected to music and
Yeah.
musicians.
Yeah.
Yep.
Dave's from Marino. I'm
That's
from
in
Detroit.
Nevada.
The only native Montana. And really, we are. There's a quartet. We're 3/4 of the. I don't want to call it administration. And we can't call ourselves good old boys because that's.
We're the Norton Heads.
We're the Norton Heads. Is that what it is? That about 30 years. God, when we had a takeover, a hostile takeover of the band. And after we had a coup in the band, and we opened up the Albertsons on North Reserve. That's a gig that happened.
Oh, yeah.
We were out there, and we were in the produce department. Now, what's that? Were you in the band at that time?
Yeah.
Right? And we played in the produce department. I mean, there's nothing but glass and tile, and oh my God, we were loud. It was a horrible gig. But that's still when Reserve was too late, and we drove out there, and we found out that the leader of the band was cutting some of our pay. He was taking more than his share, and we had a.
He was treating it like a union gig
Yeah.
for himself,
Yeah.
but not for us.
And he had bought the book, and we found out, and then we had a meeting. We went to a club. I can't remember the name of the club. But right after the gig, we went to a club and like the union members, and we went.
We talked about it.
This won't stand.
And so we had a little meeting with the leader.
Someone did. I wasn't at that
Eventually.
one. Did you?
Yeah.
Were you in that meeting?
I was
there.
You were
not
a
either.
union
I
rep?
wasn't
Yeah,
there.
there were like 3 or 4 of us probably.
Okay. And we
We just
convinced
had a little
them-
talk.
Had a little talk, and it was decided, and that we would separate ourselves from that authority.
Yeah, well, he wanted to run it like a business and
Yeah.
never been run that way.
No. So, and none of us
right.
wanted it to run it like a business, and none of us wanted to be in charge. So it was
Yeah.
like, oh, how are we going to keep this together? And we fell into, okay, I'll book the trombone, he'll book the trumpets, he'll book the rhythm section, and Chuck Florence, who is busy and should be here today, and I'll make fun of him later, books all the saxophones. So we do it by committee, and usually things got by committee. This is the only configuration that I've been involved in, committee that works. Everything else by committee, someone doesn't hold their end up, and it all just tumbles and caves in. And we've done this now for 30
We don't
years,
even
25
have a
years.
code of ethics and we get by.
Well, hell no, they don't have a code of ethics.
I think that's the reason. The other reason is that the administrative staff
Oh, yeah.
never meets
That's right.
and never decides anything.
Good point.
And so we don't have to
Occasional
just...
emails, you know.
Occasional email, but you can blow
Sort out
those off.
details.
We don't even mess with Zoom.
We got to give a shout out to the man who's been playing bass for the band now for quite a long time, Mr. Pete Hand, and he has taken over being the librarian.
Yeah.
And that is the critical job in a big band.
Yeah.
Somebody who manages all those books and charts, and not only does he take good care of them and make sure that they're always at the gig, but he also finds new tunes, prints them out, puts them in all the folders for all 17 of the players. Pete does an incredibly
And
good
hauls
job
it back
of
and
that
forth to the
stuff.
gig.
Yes, and that's the most important job administratively of a big band.
Yes.
And he,
Other than booking gigs.
other than booking
But,
gigs,
you know.
And Jerem Hine is trying to book us some gigs.
Jerem,
And
yeah.
We'd like to get a few more.
yeah, for a while I was sort of nominally the point man, the communicator, and now I've turned it over to Jerem, one of the trumpets,
Yes.
who's a very, very energetic and skilled communicator.
Yes.
He's doing a great job. So,
Well,
for
there was the
all these decades.
kerfluffle with that leader, and it was after that, I think, that the book was sold to Hellgate High School.
Saved, because John Combs was the Hellgate band director at the time.
Yeah,
And I
it
think
was shared there for a while.
He rescued the book and bought it for Hellgate High School.
Right.
The only downside to that was occasionally some of those high school kids would lose a book.
And wouldn't put stuff back in order, because then
That's
that
right.
But
became
other than that,
a bone.
that worked for a few years, and
Yeah.
then it became clear that they needed that book, and we needed our own set of books. And that's when Pete took
That's right. And he took charge of that.
took over the library and scanned all those charts in. Oh my gosh! I mean, bought all those charts.
That's right.
It's a huge amount of work.
He acquired all those
It's a
charts.
huge amount of work.
Yeah.
Pete did a tremendous amount of work.
Yeah.
He did.
So we got gigs. So we all play guitar, trumpet, trombone, and we all been in the group for at least 30 years each. Yeah, I was living down the road, and Tom called me and said, "Hey, you got any charts?" I went, "Well, you should probably so, because Dean Vinyl, the old retired band director in Hamilton,
Also
gave me
a
his stuff.
player.
A trombone player gave me
Right.
his stuff before he passed, and so I shared some of the charts, saying, "Hey, you know, if you need a sub, you need someone, you give me a call." That was the deal with Wadsland. So that's how I got my foot in the door, and then in '87, I moved up here, and then got a regular piece of the action. And now I've been wise, and I put myself in the least important chair in the trombone section. Third trombone. I mean, you could just go. I could go in there and just drink tea the whole gig, and no one would know. It's a perfect place for me.
Is that what you've been doing?
Tea. That's tea. That's what it is right there. So we have a gig on Sunday, December 18th,
18th.
at the Zac,
Zac.
which is that on Main as well?
Yes,
It's on
That's
Main
on
Street.
Main?
it is.
All right, so it's down by
next-
the old shack.
Next to where the shack used to be.
Yeah. And it's one of our, for years we did Second Sunday Swing, some alliterative name
Yes.
for the gig. And we did that for years. We'd like to bring that back, but we're going to start with a single show at the Zac on Sunday the 18th.
And it's a big,
Yes.
beautiful dance floor. It's a really good place for the swing dancers to come out and
have that.
strut
And,
their stuff.
and they've got beer and wine available as well.
I believe
Yeah.
they do, yes.
Right? And then for New Year's Eve, we're in the ritual room. So I'm going to find someone to say a prayer. Hold on.
Upstairs in the Elks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You spent a lot of time in church. I think we ought to say a prayer before that
Not
gig.
that much.
I got that the ritual room, which is upstairs, and it's an all wood floor. And I don't know if I've
Great
ever
for
played
dances.
dance up there. I haven't done. I've done combo
Sure.
gigs,
Yeah.
and
I
that's
think
what
they'll make room.
Yeah.
Somehow they'll make
Yeah.
room.
that's what the city band rehearsed before I took it over.
And that,
Oh,
that,
really?
that, of course, is part of what they're calling Missoula on Main, which used to be First Night.
Yeah.
They gave it a new name, and
New
they're
venues.
trying some different stuff.
Like masquerade ball. Is that right?
I don't think
I
it's
think I read that in some
Yeah.
of the promo
Something
material.
it's a masquerade ball.
I don't know, so I think you ought to dress up funny, like a pirate. I was going to come as a derelict.
Well, you.
Any-
No, no, I think you should just be nice and conservative the way you are.
That's the only time that you take out the tuxedo.
This shirt
yeah.
people must be having to wear their dark
man,
glasses.
Blink, I
with
got to
this
put on
shirt.
sunglasses.
It looks like it's a big band right there.
I know it right there. It's my favorite shirt, and
You'd never know it was cold out. If you were looking at him.
No,
He looks
no.
like he's drinking Corona on the beach with Snoop
with Snoop
Dogg.
Dogg. Yeah,
Yeah.
baby. No, wait. Well, did I ask you everything I was going to?
I don't know.
Okay, I never did. Let me see if there's something. Hey, is there a way to make these phones keep on the same page? I'll ask you that, Scott. What's going on anyway? When I hang it, who is Ed? We got that. How are we connected, Ed?
You've got a list of questions. This man came prepared.
Have we covered it?
Yeah, I think we've covered everything except
We're
the
at-
fact that where's that book?
What book?
David and I are both published authors. And he made me promise not to tell anybody because I found your stuff on the sly in like some compilation.
Oh,
Snuck in somewhere. I had no idea you were a writer. He's got degrees in writing even.
And he's even written short stories.
Oh yeah.
Did you know about that?
Short
Is that
ones,
where I found it? Well,
short
maybe
ones, long ones, everything in between.
And he's got a new book, and it's wonderful.
Thanks, G.
It's about your mom and your grandma.
Yeah, it's a family memoir about a very interesting, some very interesting background on my mother's side of my family. Yeah.
It's Lloyd. What's the name of it? Go ahead and pitch it, buddy.
I'll
please.
pitch it. It's called Helmy's Shadow. My mother was named Helmy, and it primarily focuses on her, although there's a lot about my grandmother, who was a Russian Jew who came from Odessa. As a matter of fact, that's been in the news a lot lately.
Yeah, man.
But she ended up growing up in China and raised my mother in China, strangely enough. It's a long saga, but there it is. It's out there.
It's wonderfully interesting, and he keeps low profile for a writer. And now we've charged Stickney to write a book as well.
And you are an author yourself.
The
over there,
history of the
Mr.
city
Gillett.
band. Like it was like I fell into
Yeah, it's a
it.
musical
But I
history.
did write a memoir, and I put it on the Google Books.
Oh,
Yeah. I haven't figured out how to get any money from it. Not that that's a concern, but it's out there. So I
Before
really.
your memory.
Oh.
went out.
there's big money in writing books, let me tell you.
That's how we afford health care. No. Social Security, thank God. Hey, it works out wonderfully. Hey, so, sorry, there's still old people here, but there's a couple of youngsters in the band.
There are.
Oh yeah, we're bringing in that new generation.
There it is.
And the
Jeremy,
next generation after that.
my kid plays in the band, and we got some people,
Nick Barr.
Nick Barr, we got some people less than 60 years old in that band.
Oh my gosh.
Jesse playing
Jesse.
Oh, that's right, Jesse's not 60.
Barry Sachs, he's a young guy, a terrific musician.
Lana plays sometimes.
Oh, that's right.
Lana sometimes plays, she's youngish.
There we go. So we're working at it.
Wonderful player.
Well, boys, anything else you want to add to the interview here?
Well, only
Introduce yourself.
if you're watching this after we play any of these shows coming up, then we want to thank you for being there. Isn't that how you talk to the future?
There we go. How to talk to the future. I can't even think about the future.
Wow.
Sure.
One foot in front of the other.
I
That's where
guess.
we go.
Well, gentlemen, I thank you for blessing us, and our relatives can tune in. Hey,
Thanks for hosting this.
You could give this, the link to your
Uh-huh.
relatives and call it a Christmas present.
Oh,
No part
that
of a dollar, no
solves.
part of a dime.
I don't have to go shopping now.
Hey, Merry Christmas,
How do you
kid.
put a bow on?
Wrap
Thanks
it
so
up.
much, boys. Hey,
All right.
this has been
Been a
Music
pleasure.
in Missoula. Dave and Jeff have been here with me, and Scott's been over there smiling, doing all the tech work, and he'll make us look handsome and intelligent with editing. God
Yeah.
bless you,
Oh,
buddy.
good. Because
Thanks,
I
Scott.
forgot my
Oh,
makeup
we
today.
need that. Hey, take care. See you next time. Music in Missoula. Oh, easy for me to say.
We want to thank all those folks out there at MCAT, Missoula Community Access Television, who are videotaping us even as I speak. Yeah, isn't that frightening? I've been told that it will air in about 8 weeks, so you can relive this fine, fine summer day. Now, Count Basie's jumping at the Woodside.